In the future, Earth faces an ecological collapse after humans push their experiments on genetically modified entities too far. Engineered viruses and organisms escape into the wild, wiping out edible plants, all animals, and much of the human population. An oligarchy now thrives in enclosed cities called citadels while the rest struggle to survive, relying on seeds traded by the citadels, seeds coded to produce only one harvest. Among these survivalists is Vesper, a 13-year-old girl who lives with her paralyzed father, Darius. To keep his daughter company and talk to her, his mind has been uploaded into a drone that follows her around. Vesper is a smart kid. Not only does she go out to forage every day, but she also has biology and biohacking knowledge that helps her research in an abandoned lab nearby. She's also the one keeping her father alive by maintaining his life support machine. Darius is protective of his daughter and dislikes it when she talks about finding a way to escape or following a pilgrim out of curiosity to see where they go. One afternoon, Vesper returns home to find they've been robbed and the generator powering the whole house, including Darius' machine, has been damaged. To keep her father alive, she must go to a nearby farm and ask for help. When she arrives, she discovers they're having trouble with their jug, a genetically created human devoid of intelligence, used for manual labor. The jug was hurt while working and is now useless, so the leader, Jonas Darius' brother, orders the boy in charge of it to put the creature out of its misery. Jonas swears it can't feel pain because it was made in a lab, but as the boy kills it, the creature fights back and cries. After this disturbing scene, Vesper approaches Jonas to ask for bacteria to power the generator again, offering a blood donation in exchange. Blood is valuable because Jonas uses it to buy seeds from the citadels, but Vesper only donates blood in an emergency. Once she's older, her blood won't be useful anymore, which is why Jonas wants her to come live with him, promising to take care of her dad too. Vesper refuses because she knows he wants to make her one of his breeders, and he's always creepy in the way he highlights how much she looks like her mom, who left them a year ago. When the donation is done, Jonas refuses to give Vesper the bacteria, saying he needs to sell the blood first and that it will take a couple of days. Darius won't survive that long without the machine, and a furious Vesper tries to take her blood back, but Jonas catches her and kicks her out. Unwilling to give up, Vesper returns moments later and sneaks into the farm through a secret hole in the fence. Jonas' assistant sees her, but decides to keep quiet, so Vesper breaks into Jonas' lab and takes the bacteria she's owed. While there, she also steals some of the seeds Jonas has gotten from the Citadel. Speaking of the Citadel, while Vesper is on her way home, she notices one of the Citadel's gliders flying lower than usual. At home, Vesper fixes the generator before working on the seeds, hoping she can make them fertile and earn a place in the Citadel. Darius tries to explain they'll never accept her, hurting Vesper and making her leave the house in tears. While running through the forest, she's shocked to find Camellia, a woman whose clothes suggest she comes from the Citadel. She may be unconscious, but she's still alive despite all the plants feeding on her, so Vesper removes the organisms and drags Camellia home, treating her wounds with a synthetic patch she made herself. Later that evening, Camellia wakes up and overhears Vesper and Darius arguing over what to do with her. Vesper believes she could take them to the Citadel, but Darius doesn't trust her and thinks they should leave her to die in the forest. Worried and scared, Camellia steals a knife from the kitchen and hides it under her pillow before Vesper comes to check on her. When asked, Camellia confirms that the glider crashed and she was in it. Her father was with her, but they got separated, and now she needs to find him. Camellia isn't healthy enough to walk yet, but promises a reward, so Vesper agrees to search for her father in the forest, even if Darius doesn't approve. Over dinner, Camellia learns that Darius was injured while serving the Citadel army, and all they gave him was the drone. This is why he doesn't trust them. When Darius suddenly begins to have a seizure, Camellia helps by kissing him, immediately putting him to sleep. The next morning, Vesper begins her search and quickly finds the glider with Camelia's father Elias inside. Unfortunately, she isn't the only one there. Jonas and a group of survivalists arrive to check the crash too. Jonas approaches Elias and ignores his cries for help, instead killing him for being from the Citadel. When Vesper tries to stop him, Jonas pushes her away, suspicious of her concern for a stranger. He also finds a woman's scarf inside the glider, indicating another passenger they need to find. Afterward, Darius suggests Vesper lie to Camellia, telling her they found nothing. He wants to inform the Citadel before Camellia does anything rash or Jonas finds her, but the only transceiver is at Jonas' house. When they return home, Vesper lies to Camellia and promises to keep looking for her father the next day. Her wounds are healing well, thanks to Vesper's synthetic patches. Impressed, Vesper decides to trust Camellia and shows her the secret greenhouse where she keeps her bioengineered plants. They all have unique abilities and personalities, and Vesper is proud of them, but she still yearns to find the right mix to produce edible seeds. While Vesper is tending to a plant, Darius approaches Camellia. He says he knows she can't take them to a citadel, but asks for kindness since this dream means the world to Vesper. When they return home, Camellia asks Vesper about her mom, who left a year ago to join the pilgrims after losing her voice. Pilgrims are veiled scavengers, and nobody knows why they do it. Some rumors say a virus turns people into pilgrims, which could mean Vesper's mom didn't have a choice. After Camellia reveals she never met her own mother, Vesper brings out a book with illustrations of extinct animals. Camellia shares her memories and teaches Vesper the noises they made. Knowing the citadel keeps real animals, Vesper questions why survivalists aren't allowed in. Camellia explains the higher-ups fear a lack of resources if they open the gates. Vesper thinks they could do the menial jobs instead of creating jugs, but Camellia points out the citadel prefers control, and jugs don't fight back like people might. Afterward, Vesper brings her mother's old instrument, and they sing and play together. The next day, Vesper sneaks into Jonas' house again to use the transceiver, but Jonas spots Darius' drone and captures it. Pretending to fix it, Jonas mentions his missing seeds and the mystery passenger, then accuses Vesper of being a liar, especially within his own family. Refusing to confess, Vesper grabs the drone and runs, only to find it's been sabotaged and crashes immediately. While trying to retrieve the drone, Vesper finds a body under a tree, Jonas' assistant, left there to die. Before she can wonder if he was killed for helping her, Jonas' followers arrive and brand Vesper's hand, marking her as Jonas' property. Back home, Vesper collapses in tears. Camellia comforts her, making her feel guilty for her lies. She confesses that Elias is dead. To prove it, Vesper takes Camellia to see the body floating in the river. Camellia breaks down, clinging to her father's body. Vesper has to drag her out of the river before she drowns. While holding her, Vesper notices a strange scar on Camelia's back that reacts to her touch. It turns out Camellia is an advanced jug created by Elias, who was exiled from the citadel for making a sentient slave. Camellia lied too. She could never have gotten Vesper and her dad into the citadel because she was on the run. Furious, Vesper strikes Camellia before they return home. She tells Camellia to leave after she cleans up. Vesper fixes the drone and tells her dad what happened. Darius asks her to go easy on Camellia, since jugs must follow orders and she had no choice. Meanwhile, Camellia grabs a tool to end her life before the citadel finds her, but Darius' words change Vesper's mind, and she arrives just in time to stop her. Since Camellia feels she lacks purpose, Vesper suggests taking a sample from her, making Camelia's cells useful for her research. Of course, this is easier said than done because, like the seeds, Camelia's cells are also locked. Noticing Vesper's frustration, Camellia decides to play music for her, as Elias used to say it helped him concentrate. This turns out to be a brilliant idea, as the music unlocks Camelia's cells. Vesper can finally modify the citadel seeds, ensuring they'll never go hungry again. To make more progress, Vesper needs more filters. She takes a quick trip to the old lab with a drone to gather additional tools. Meanwhile, Camellia stays home to watch over Darius' body. When Jonas arrives to check on his niece, he finds Camellia. At first, Camellia feigns innocence, but Jonas sees through her and threatens to kill Darius, forcing Camellia to agree to go with him. However, as soon as she turns around, Jonas sees the mark on her back and realizes she's a jug. He pushes her against the table, trying to reprogram her cells to accept him as her new master. At that moment, Vesper returns and pushes him away, starting a fight that the drone and Camellia join. With their combined effort, they overpower Jonas, but Vesper refuses to kill him. She offers a deal. If Jonas doesn't report them to the citadel, Vesper will share the key to unlocking the seeds so he can feed his people. Jonas pretends to agree, but as soon as he returns to his farm, he calls the citadel anyway, revealing the fugitive jug's location. By nightfall, Vesper has unlocked the first batch of seeds, but there's no time to celebrate. Darius' drone detects a presence outside, signaling the citadel has arrived. An engineered organism suddenly bursts into the house, but luckily Darius recognizes it from his army days and warns Vesper and Camellia not to breathe until the poison disperses. Afterward, Camellia wants to turn herself in to save them, but Darius insists she can't. They'll still target Vesper for helping her, so he offers to distract the soldiers while they escape. Vesper refuses to leave him behind, but Darius convinces her to hide nearby. She can return after he tells the soldiers there's no jug, as he knows how to speak to fellow army men. When the soldiers finally arrive, they first stop at Jonas' farm to kill him and his group. Then they come to Darius' place. Vesper, having already hidden with Camellia in the forest, has masked the house to look abandoned and has taken the seeds with her. Darius has no hope of reasoning with the soldiers. His true plan has always been to self-destruct the drone, taking the soldiers with him. In the forest, Vesper sees the explosion and tries to rush back to her father, but Camellia stops her, knowing there's nothing they can do. To make matters worse, 2 soldiers survived the blast and are pursuing them. Vesper guides Camellia through the swamp, knowing its dangerous plants can eliminate their enemies. The first soldier falls victim to the plants, dying quickly, but the second observes and learns to avoid them. Vesper and Camellia crouch low, hiding behind foliage, but a nearby plant makes a noise, alerting the soldier to their presence. As the man nears, Vesper and Camellia decide attack is the best defense. They ambush him, seizing his weapon and beating him until he stumbles into the death zone where the plant kills him. A distant sound reveals more gliders are approaching. Camellia realizes the pursuit will never end, putting Vesper and the seeds in constant danger. Vesper senses Camelia's plan and tries to protest, but Camellia kisses her, rendering her unconscious. She hides Vesper's body under fallen leaves and surrenders to the soldiers. The next morning, Vesper wakes and finds her home burned to the ground. After planting some of the unlocked seeds in her old garden, she encounters a group of children who survived Jonas' farm attack. Together, they begin traveling, following the pilgrims to discover their destination. The destination turns out to be a massive tower built by the pilgrims from their scavenged scraps. Vesper doesn't hesitate to climb the tower. Once at the top, she opens her hand, letting the wind carry the seeds to distant lands where they can grow and feed everyone.